Live from Dogleg Brewery in Fort Worth, Texas, it's time for You Can't Brew That on Television. Now, here are your hosts, Brewmeisters Kyle and the Reverend Ryan Bono.
Good evening, Internet, and welcome to Dogleg Brewery in Fort Worth, Texas. We are coming to you live here, as we do every Monday night, where we try to help you bridge the gap between frat boy and beer snob. You are watching You Can't Brew That on Television.
Well, thank you guys. Sorry we were thrown off a little bit. Right when we hit our intro, we got an ads by Google, but we got to pay the bills.
Yeah, so, somebody does.
So we got Googled a little bit, and I don't know, I kind of liked it.
Good. Did you like your time off last week?
I did like my time off last week. You know, working is
internet television is. It's grueling work, and after the season opener, I mean, he had to have some time off. He was at a spa, a very exclusive spa.
That's what we said, but I met Tiger Woods there.
Really?
Yes, I did. It was actually not a spa. I was in rehab.
It must have been a pancake. Oh, it was rehab.
Yes.
Okay. Beer rehab, or
no? We're both addicted to sex.
There's a lot of that going around.
Right.
Awful
So.
lot. Quagmire's excited about it. So, all right, we have a pretty neat show for you tonight. As we mentioned in the season opener, we're doing a little bit something different this fall. We're going to be designing a beer with you, the viewing audience, and with our good folks here in the studio audience.
Welcome, folks. Welcome.
We're going to be working on that a little bit tonight. We've got some interesting beer news from around the world.
Yeah, we're going to drink a beer tonight.
We are going to drink a beer. We're going to have some Spaten Oktoberfest.
It's a new thing we're trying, drinking beer while we're doing our show.
And let's talk. Well, first, let's talk a little bit about why we're having Oktoberfest beers in September, because I have a feeling that some people are going to be very confused by that.
It's because in Germany, they actually drink so much beer they really don't understand what day it is.
That's right.
That's pretty much where
I mean, that's the scientific answer.
Right.
But there's also the fact that once brewing technology reached the point where you could brew beer pretty much whenever you want, Germans figured out that's a little too cold to be drinking beer in October, so they started celebrating in September.
Right. It works better that way. I mean, it just much like tailgating, you know, it's much easier to wait until football season starts to start tailgating.
Right. If we run out of material, we might actually have a little bit of college football talk. I think
beer. You want to pass some beers around?
Beer and college football definitely go hand in hand. And actually, if we run out of the spot in Oktoberfest, one of our studio audience members has brought a few other Oktoberfests for us to try. I think we've got a fun show ahead of us tonight.
Yeah, I mean, drinking German beer, spot in Oktoberfest, and this is in Märzen, which is even better.
Yeah.
It's basically the premium of regular Oktoberfests. So it should be, you know, nice and caramely, good flavor.
Caramely, good flavor. Got some European malts hopping out of there. Pretty distinctive.
It's got a very distinctive green bottle skunk coming out of it, too. I'm really enjoying that.
Really loving the green bottle skunk right now.
Yeah, I gave it the ass in there, so.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to wait a second to drink mine and let the hops kind of not be dead anymore. But, yeah, we've got... I mean, I think what we were talking about earlier, you know, it's the time of the year. We start to do all kinds of celebrations. This is when, you know, all the different holidays happen. All the fun stuff starts happening. We've got Oktoberfest happening in September, and we've got Halloween coming up. I'm pretty sure that's in October now. You know, we've got all kinds of good holidays coming up, but our favorite holiday, bull season. That's pretty much a holiday in itself. Bull season is a month-long holiday festival, and to culminate that on Bull Day, which has been traditionally over the years January 1st, we're going to have a bunch of people over, just like we did last year. We're going to brew a beer in the morning, and then we're going to celebrate afterwards by having a bunch of college football on TV and putting a few beers down ourselves.
So, and this is a tradition started just this past football season, and this actually kicked off You Can't Brew That on Television as what it is today.
That was season Sub-Zero. Because it was quite cold.
Yeah, that was definitely season Sub-Zero. And so what we would like to do this fall is for this year's Brewing Bowl, we want you to help us figure out what style we're going to brew, and then we're all going to design a beer together. And then we're going to brew it together for the Brewing Bowl on January 1st. So, how do you want to begin this? Like, have you thought about a four? We haven't really talked about how we're going to do this. So just throw some styles out there.
Yeah, let's just talk about some styles. If everybody wants to load up a great website for looking at styles, and the people that come up with this stuff, at least in America, is the BJCP, which if you go to bjcp.org, you'll be able to find this list of beers, and they've got a web version that you can go to the 2008 style guidelines on the index sheet here on their website. Pretty easy to find, and there's 23 major styles, and then before you get into meads, and of those, there are subcategories that we can pick some different things.
So let's do this to start. Let's pick a member of the studio audience. John Josh Ross, what is a style that you think we should consider for brewing at this year's second annual Brewing Bowl?
I think it's good to say last year we brewed a dry stout.
Dry stout came
really
out
good.
very nicely. Let's try not to do that again.
Yeah,
because as amazing as it was, let's try to branch out. So John, what do you think? What's a good style that you would like to see?
How about a sour?
A sour?
Sour.
Well, that's a far cry for a Brewing Bowl. We need a new audience. Kick him out.
Yeah, right now security's coming to haul this man away.
I think they're coming to play him out.
Has been sacked.
He's going to get played out. James, what is a style you would like to see?
You might want to go a little easier with, let's say, the Northern English Brown.
I like
Northern
that
English
selection.
Brown.
So
that sounds fun.
So let's go to the English Brown Ale group.
Which is, oddly enough, not with the Scottish and Irish ales.
That's weird. It's almost like those are different countries.
Right. It's odd.
It's kind of amazing how that works. So, what we're going to be looking at from a Northern English Brown Ale, aroma is going to come out. It's going to have a light, sweet malt aroma with toffee, nutty or caramel notes. This is very important to the style. It's going to have a light, fresh hop aroma, and you're going to want to use mainly United Kingdom hop varieties on this.
English hops, English yeasts. You got to keep it like that. Keep it to the traditional.
Very, very important. And again, we're going to go through all these one at a time. The flavor on this, which I think I'd really like to get down to, is it's a gentle to moderate malt sweetness. Sometimes it'll have a nutty, lightly caramely character, and it's going to have kind of a medium dry to a dry finish. It can be toasty and biscuity.
Yeah. Oh, toasty, biscuity, caramely. It's a nice beer for a light flavor. It's still it's a dark beer. It looks darker than most beers, but it's still going to come out with a softer flavor profile. Really good beer.
Really nice balance between malt and hops. You're not going to be tasting like neither one of them is really going to jump up and hit you. It's going to be a really well balanced beer. This is a style that I particularly have come to really enjoy over the last couple of years. Yep. Actually, a lot of your caramely and toasty English styles I've really come to enjoy. So let's go with another studio audience member. Steve, what are you thinking?
Well, Northern English Brown is a wonderful style, but I'd like a Scotch ale.
Make a big beer.
Scotch ale, very, very nice.
Now that would be going more aggressive.
Yeah, big beer for the winter.
So if you go back, and you would go over here to Scottish and Irish ales, and that would be a strong Scotch, category 9E. And that's going to be way more in your face.
Yeah.
Huge caramel sweetness. There's going to be a lot of alcohol warmth to it.
There's going to be some smoke in there. A lot of times you're going to have some peat or some other kind of smoke aromas coming from somewhere. But yeah, big caramely, alcohol-y.
Yeah.
Well, malt. I mean, it's pretty heavy on the malt, right? Or am I?
Oh yeah. You're going to be. It's almost entirely malt forward. You're going to have very little hop. You shouldn't have any hop flavor. Barely any hop nose if you notice any. The
BJCP, which is where we're reading all this again, BJCP is calling hop flavor in a strong Scotch ale. It's calling it low to medium low. So very, very little hop flavor and bitterness here. This is just a big malty caramely beer.
Yeah, and that's a great beer. And with something like that, we could discuss first runnings and then a secondary beer out of there.
Nice, yeah, absolutely, and nice to brew and drink during the winter too. During the winter, I like those big malty beers.
Yeah, if we went with a lower style on that too, we wouldn't be so huge on the alcohol that would take a year to drink.
Right.
It'd probably be ready in 6 to 8 months if we were on the low end of the style.
Yeah, if we go for the high end of the style, we could drink it at next year's Brewing Bowl.
That's true. Some of those beers, when you brew something that big, it takes a year for them to really reach their flavor. But Yeah, but, you know, I mean, you can do some pretty cool stuff with that. You can make one beer out of the first runnings from the mash, and you make another beer out of the second runnings. Basically, instead of making 10 gallons all at once, you make 2 different 5-gallon batch. One's really high alcohol content, and one's really light. And, you know, I mean, that's an idea. If you want to do something like that.
Now, I don't believe we've met. I'm Bono. This is Kyle.
I'm Carrie.
Carrie, nice to meet you. Any particular style you'd like to see us brew this January?
Well, I love a Scottish ale.
He loves a Scottish ale.
Scott, you're talking the Scotch ale again. Okay. All right.
We've already got 2 votes for the Scotch ale, and frankly, I think that's a pretty good idea.
I'm not opposed to that one.
I would definitely go. I'm sorry?
Megan has the question
Yeah,
of is anybody... Our chat room is apparently too difficult to use.
Yeah, it's apparently not very intuitive. It
Right.
takes a...
Most people, when they click it, it loads up a chat room, and then that chat room, you have to type something in there and hit enter.
And then when you hit enter, the text has to appear on the screen.
And then other people have to read that text and then reply to that text.
So,
and it's been very difficult. And we understand.
It's producing a lot of problems.
I mean, it's something that after you've had 14 or 15 Oktoberfest Märtzens, it's very difficult to operate.
It's also very difficult if you are a moron.
Yeah, that too. And we highly recommend, if you can't use our chat room, please do not operate heavy machinery.
Are we in a position yet where we can really rip on our audience?
Both of them? We'd like to make fun of both of our audience tonight.
Actually, the people in our studio audience are here because they themselves could not figure out the chat room. So they wanted to have their voices be heard, so they decided to just come on in.
Wheat beer? We brewed 20 gallons of wheat beer over the last 3 weeks. We don't mind doing a wheat beer
in the last couple of weeks. Let's find wheat beer and take a look at that.
Okay, well, if you go to that, you can get wheat under a couple different styles. Light hybrid is number 6, which is where you'll find the American wheat beer.
Let's start with American wheat.
Okay, an American wheat beer is going to be basically a much more straightforward version of a beer than like an German wheat. A German wheat's going to have all these crazy yeast characters, cloves and bananas and, you know, just a whole bunch of esters and things that you get from a phenolic producing yeast.
Can there be diacetyl?
In that beer, I believe there can be a little bit of diacetyl, but it's not recommended. No diacetyl. I'm getting a head shaking.
Diacetyl.
No diacetyl. So okay, there it is.
You're gonna get some grain in there.
Oh yeah,
that's definitely gonna be a big part of it.
Be a cloudy beer. You should have some sweetness because the wheat malt tends to create a little more sweetness.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, the esters in that beer, they've got to be pretty low.
Yeah, I mean, American can have a little bit of that bubble gum.
A little bit.
But I wouldn't go anywhere with the cloves or anywhere with the banana.
Yeah, so you're not gonna get a big fruitiness out of it.
Right.
You're not gonna be getting any other kind of clovey or spicy or anything like that.
Yeah, so I mean that's a pretty good beer, and that brings us to another beer in that same style, which is a rye beer. I'm pretty partial to rye beers. I think they're, they tend to be dividing because most people haven't had rye flavors in their beer. But if you have, basically, it's got a spiciness to it. That's the best way to describe it. People who taste it, they'll taste it and they'll go, oh, there's something sharp in there, and they can't quite put their finger on it when they're first having their first rye beer, especially if they don't know it's a rye beer. But we've got these beers, and I mean, they come in, they got this spiciness. It's almost like some hops will give you some similar spicy profiles, but nothing quite in your face. And you do 15-20% rye in a beer, and it's noticeable. Full Moon. We did the Full Moon Rye Pale Ale at one point, didn't we? Yeah, that was one of our beers of the week. Great beer.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones we tried.
It was one of the early ones, yeah. And that should be in everybody's fridge. If you live anywhere where you can get Full Moon, the Rye Pale Ale, it's fantastic. But
So hopefully those of you watching at home can chime in on the chat, or if most of you guys know one or both of us. So,
right.
So feel free to text us and give us your suggestions if you can't figure out the chat room, like our good friends here in the studio audience.
My question is, how did they tell us that they couldn't figure out the chat room?
They chatted.
Did they text it in the chat room?
Yeah.
Or they tried to email the chat room and it didn't go through? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what's going on. Is when they typed it and they pressed enter, the message it posted on the chat room board.
Yeah.
And that's weird.
I think we need that. You guys ever watch that old SNL sketch, your company's computer guy with Jimmy Fallon, probably one of the 2 things he ever did that was funny.
Oh, dude, huge checks in. It's about time. I've been wondering where he's been.
Well, he does this whole sketch where everybody comes in and then he tells them that they can't download it, they have to upload it, and calls them an idiot and berates them and pushes his glasses back up and it zooms in.
Move.
Does one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But that's the kind of thing I think we need to help people with.
Just makes me wonder if Bill O'Reilly would want to help that guy play it out. Faulkner, I see you over there messing around on a laptop. You look like you're looking at video game stuff, though.
No, he's definitely looking up Tony Romo.
Do I throw a beer style at us? You're looking at Tony Romo pictures.
Yeah, and stretching nonetheless.
Whenever you're reading stories about Dallas Cowboys, he might come up.
So, any kind of beers that...
What's you were next? Belgian. What kind of Belgian?
Belgians can range, they can run the gambit. And pretty much all Belgian beers are going to have a Belgian yeast characteristic that's, it's kind of a...
Belgian yeast gives you some really nice esters.
Yeah.
It leaves some really neat stuff behind.
Phenomenal beers. I mean, some of my favorites have always been good, true Belgian beers, especially a double. Oh, love a double or quadruple. Or a triple.
Or a triple. Yeah, we could make a triple. Any particular type of Belgian you want? Let's look at a double. So I think a double would be fun to
you just went. That would be under Belgian strong ales, I believe.
Oh, would it?
Mm-hmm. And that's style guideline 18.
Is there such a thing as half and half?
Half and half. Yes, I believe it is. That's when you have you put it whatever English beer you want with a Guinness, and it's awesome. I mean, it's just could we brew that? Can we brew a half and half?
I'm not sure we could brew a half and half. We could brew half of it.
Can we nitrogenate only half of the beer?
We could brew half of it, and then we could brew the other half of it, and then we could make a half and half.
Okay.
So we have a request for a half and half.
This is from a guy who just went to the East Coast, so he had some Yingling the other day.
Oh, nice.
Had some of their...
Very nice.
Was it the Yingling Black and Tan? Is that the one they have? It's a good beer. It's a good beer. Yeah.
So we had a request for some Belgian double. Again, those of you following at home, that's going to be in your section 18 on the BJCP.
Belgian doubles are great beer, man.
And I noticed actually we've had a few people join here recently. We were talking about different beer styles, and we're trying to get hints and ideas of what we can brew this year for our Brewing Bowl. And
by the end of today, we're going to have it decided. So we're just kind of batting it around, right? Strong Scotch, we've heard a couple words about. Maybe a wheat beer. We've got the Belgian stuff. Somebody wants us to brew Yingling. Not really even their Black and Tan, just a Yingling, and I don't think that's possible, but we can try that.
Yeah, and so what we're doing as we come up with these different beer styles that are suggested, we're going to bjcp.org, and that's where we're finding out what these beer styles are supposed to taste like, so we can decide if that's what we want to make, what we want to be drinking sometime in February or March when this beer is ready.
And I'm going ahead and writing something down. This is, you don't have to read this, Bono, but one of the things we're going to do in future episodes is talk about all the different phases that go through brewing a beer. So today we're going to come up with the style of beer, and then we'll go through and we'll talk about how we're going to come up with the water for it, and the boil, and the recipe design, and the mashing, and yada yada, all the way through to the boil, to the ferment, to serving the beer and drinking it. And at one point, we're going to have to come up with a name. So that's going to be a fun episode, I think.
I think it is, actually.
So I just wrote down a name for what I was thinking would be a good name for this beer.
I'm gonna kill you, bitch. No, I don't.
That was already there.
That was directed to somebody else.
I carved that with my knife in the table. I'm sorry. But let's talk more about some other styles. We've got double now mentioned, right?
Yeah,
We've got
double was mentioned. Let's take a look at what's going to be coming out of a Belgian double. Again, we're using the BJCP website, and you're going to want like kind of a big malty sweetness, maybe a little bit of chocolate or caramel out of a Belgian double.
Yeah, but the most thing that is going to define this beer is like a dark fruit type flavor. That's going to be the best part of that beer.
And tell me, where does that dark fruit come from?
Well,
are we actually going to be putting prunes in this?
No. It can come from several different types of things. You can get a dark fruit flavor from Belgian candy sugars. If you really want some really deep, dark candy sugars, will give you that. Most of its fermentation with that Belgian yeast gives you a majority of that, but it's also, depends on the way that you make your mash. I mean, you can get a little bit if you do a decoction mash, but the dark fruit type flavors, I would say the biggest thing, you could also get it from oxidation, really. I mean, if you wanted to let the beer age a long time, it's going to come out with more of those characteristics. It's going to have less carbonation. But, yeah, I mean, you can get it from all over the map. But
Excellent.
however you do it. What's that?
Excellent.
I think
We
that
got
was-
soundboarded?
Yeah, I think that was a sound drop.
It was, shut up.
Excellent.
Shut
Yeah,
up.
so the Belgian Double is going to be a moderately strong beer.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get your dark fruit. You're going to get your caramel and your malty sweetness coming out of there. That's a really nice beer. And anybody wanting to try a Belgian Double, Chimay Red is a double.
Yes.
Yeah,
Chimay Red's a
the
double.
Chimay Red is an absolutely outstanding double.
The St. Bernardus 8
Yeah,
is a
very
great,
nice beer.
great double. You can get pretty much Vestmall, like anything you get that says 8 or it says double.
Yeah, that's right, double. And we talk a lot about Belgian brewing and we talk a lot about these monasteries, and that's something I think we definitely need to cover on a future show. Is maybe a little bit about the monasteries and the brewing tradition of monks. So I know a lot of people are somewhat thrown back when they find out that monks basically brew beer for a living. A lot of them. That's right. Whoever said that.
Thanks, Quagmire.
Megan, any ideas? No ideas.
We could brew nothing.
We
That is true.
could.
We could pretend to brew. We could fake to brew.
No!
We could pretend to fake.
We could pretend to
We
fake.
could think about faking. Split screen guy whose name I still don't know. John the split screen guy.
What about smoke flavored beer?
Smoke
flavored
beer.
I like where your
Did
head's
somebody
at
give
there.
you that, or have you? Oh, you came up with the smoke beer from the screen. Well
I
done.
tried a few with the flying saucer occasionally. I'm trying to get into it. I'm just kind of curious. I'm smoke flavored curious.
Smoke curious.
Smoke curious. Is there
That guy
other-
right there brews
Yeah,
some of
this-
the best smoked beers
Yeah,
you've
you want
ever
to
had.
become good friends with this guy.
Yeah, if you like bacon, then you'll like that
And who
beer.
doesn't like bacon?
Awesome.
Pigs, I would say, probably don't like bacon.
No, probably not.
Not zombie pigs.
Oh, that's true. I didn't specify whether they were undead pigs or living pigs. Well, anyway,
All
yeah,
right.
that's a good idea. I mean, we got smoked beer, but I heard the cry for Saison out there. Another
Saison, who threw
fantastic
Saison
beer.
out there?
We,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saison that's a very,
we've brewed
very
those
nice
several
stuff.
times, and we've had pretty good success with that. I mean, that's basically just a wheat beer. Can be anything you really want it to be. Can become a Saison. Any type of Belgian style has to have the characteristics of the yeast of the Belgian styles. And you just make a beer. Traditionally, most of the time I've had it's been with wheat. It's a small
Yep.
portion of wheat. And you can use biscuity malts if you want. It's not going to go overboard. It's going to be a pretty light overall beer. But phenomenal beer.
And we were
I like
talking
that one.
earlier. We were talking earlier about the Belgian Double and how it's going to have a lot of dark fruit esters in it. Saison is also going to have some fruit esters in it.
Yep.
And they're also going to come mostly from the fermentation and the yeast, but they're going to be lighter fruit esters, kind of citrusy, is what you're going to be looking for.
And most of these Belgian beers use older hops or hops that don't have as much potency, because that's not a big characteristic of Belgian beers. And something that a lot of people are doing now is put in a lot of hops in Belgian flavors and making Belgian IPAs.
Yeah, they're stretching.
I mean, everybody wants to create the next new style, but I would say stick with the black IPAs before you go to the Belgian
Yeah.
IPAs. But,
I had a Belgian IPA at the Saucer the other day, though. I thought it was really nice.
well, that's probably the Real Ale that did that, or was that 512?
I think it was real. Yeah, because it was the cask. Yeah, it was a really nice beer.
I did not enjoy that.
Really?
No, wasn't my thing.
Well, you don't have good taste.
That's true.
So we've got a few minutes left here,
'Kay.
and I think we've got a really nice pool of beers to choose from.
Let's talk about that little deal that we were reading about the other day with the uncovering of that sinking vessel.
Quick chat.
You guys seen any or heard anything of that? They had some beer off of the coast of Finland or something, and Sweden or somewhere around in that area. One of those southern Asian countries.
In the Baltic
I know my
Sea.
geography.
He really knows his geography. We're talking Eastern Europe here, the Baltic Sea, off of the Åland Islands, which is apparently a part of Finland.
Yeah, it's a part of Finland,
Yeah.
but they all speak Swedish.
Do they?
Mhm.
That is really weird.
Mhm. I read that somewhere.
So what? Basically, there was a shipwreck there that had been excavated. What do you do when you dig up a shipwreck? It's not excavating, is it?
Is it? Salvaging,
Thank you,
all right.
salvaging. They
I
were
was going to go with
salvaging.
spelunking. I was headed towards spelunking.
Spelunking is close, but no.
No.
And so they were spelunking and salvaging in this shipwreck. And
Looting? Could it be looting?
looting a shipwreck
they're definitely doing
because
that.
they were actually looking for champagne, and they found champagne. They found the world's oldest champagne. But next to this very large cache of champagne, there were a few bottles that were very different from the rest. And one of them accidentally cracked open, and a dark liquid came out that they figured out was beer. And so this is officially the world's oldest beer, and it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 years old.
200 years old. But because it's been 200 feet under sea, hasn't been hit by any rays of light, hasn't gotten bad, it's been stored at cellar temperatures, pretty much like right below freezing.
Yeah, pretty much the
or right
ideal
above freezing,
cellaring
excuse me.
conditions.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting.
How do you think that One-Eyed Willie will react when his treasure's found, though? I mean, that's... No Goonies references out here?
I think Chester Copperpot
Goonies?
will come back.
Is this thing on? Hello?
One-Eyed Willie. I'm going to wear my sloth t-shirt next week.
All right.
John Josh Ross just volunteered to videotape the Truffle Shuffle after the show, so...
Speaking of John Josh Ross, we had a bunch of beer styles mentioned here tonight. Which one did you like? Which one are you partial to? Other than your selection, which was terrible. That's why we're giving you a chance to redeem yourself.
You can do it, man!
I thought you guys liked those, that's why.
We do. We just don't like it when you say them.
He's like, I would really like a spiced herb vegetal.
Spiced herb vegetal.
Oh, yes.
Let's go to that 20.
Did you?
No. Yes, I made pumpkin today.
Oh, well.
Oh, nice.
Think of the Scottish ale.
We have another
The
vote
Scotch.
for the Scotch ale.
Scotch. I'll make it 3.
All right.
Another Scotch
So
ale
we got
thing is going to be
3
pretty
towards
tough.
the
Well,
Scotch.
actually, that's what I was pulling for. I think Scotch ales can be pretty much impossible to beat here.
Belgian styles,
And-
they definitely reined in. They came in, but
Yeah.
it sounds like Scotch is
And
pretty
anyone,
promising. We've been wanting to brew a strong Scotch for a long time.
Yeah, we have.
Anyway,
And-
so we'll be learning along with everybody out there.
anyone feel really strongly on the subject? Anybody want to just throw out there and say I really
No,
Scotch,
no vetoes. Nobody going, I did not want this strong Scotch.
Scotch sounds fun, but I gotta have me some sour.
Right,
Anybody?
John.
I
John?
had me some sour.
Dude, I didn't say it.
Well, then
All
it's
right,
good.
I think it's settled.
It's settled.
This year's Brew and Bowl Stout will be a Scotch ale. It's not Brew and Bowl Stout anymore. I have
No.
to stop saying that. It's Brew and Bowl Scotch.
Brew and Bowl, strong Scotch.
Strong Scotch. So, you got anything else for everybody? What are we doing next week? Let's try another Oktoberfest. And actually, let's talk about Oktoberfest in general next week.
Okay. Yeah, we were kind of
Paulaner,
just
Paulaner have a
glassed
good.
over that subject.
Does Paulaner have a good Oktoberfest?
Yeah.
We have a pretty big, and St. Arnold's has a good Oktoberfest.
We can do St. Arnold's the week after.
Yes.
You want to do it as Oktoberfest, a month of Oktoberfest beers?
That's what I thought we were doing.
I didn't know.
Oh well, you know now.
This month, everybody, we're going to be doing a
We're gonna
month
be
of
doing all
Oktoberfest beers.
Oktoberfest beers this month. Next month is Paulaner. So make sure to go out sometime in the next week. Thank you for correcting me.
Sometime this decade.
So sometime in the next decade, we are going to drink Paulaner Oktoberfest. So go out and pick up a 6-pack just in case it's next Monday. And until then, we would like you to always remember that we are not professionals.
So please try this at home.
Oh God, that is awful.